Hello, welcome to the Organize Your Joy podcast. Let's organize your space in a way that fits your unique family. We can transform our homes, allowing us to create love and connection, parent with intention, while nurturing our passions. I'm your host, Krystal Meldrum. This podcast is brought to you by organizeyourjoy.com. Let's get organized. Okay, well, the podcast episode this month is on the question, are you doing too much? As the queen bee of your home, there is so much to do, so many pans in the fire. And so we're going to talk about how to delegate. And the painting that I did this month is called The Queen Bee. And I'm excited to talk to you about that later. But I just kind of want to go over a little bit of what we talked about last month. Last month, the theme was enjoying the seasons of motherhood. And the call to action was to kind of imagine your life as a little old grandma, thinking back on your life and thinking about what are those things that you are really, really, really happy that you did. So I did that. And there were 6 things that were really, really important and it was kind of surprising. Money, glamour, fame, none of that were the things that I thought of. The things were number 1, spirituality. Number 2, dancing. Number 3, play, wholesome recreation, and laughter. 4, learning and teaching. And that's where my art and my writing kind of comes in. Number 5, enjoying nature, going on hikes, especially with kids. I really relax in nature and seeing beautiful things. I just love to see beauty. And number 6, working. I love working one-on-one, especially with children, because it's easier to get one kid to work than it is to get 6 kids to work. And you can have a lot of teaching wonderful moments. So those are the things that I was like, those were really important to me that I want to do. But everyone's unique. So I hope that you'll do that exercise. There were a few little stories I wanted to share from last month that I didn't get to share yet. One time I was just feeling bad because my house looked slimed from about 3 feet down in peanut butter and jelly and mud and just little hands and streak marks everywhere. And it was just like, oh, this house looks terrible. And I went to this retreat and they said, you need to love it or change it. And I realized, okay, well, I don't really love these smears all over. So maybe I'll change it. And to me, it was like, if I had to change it, it means I would have to get rid of my 6 little kids to really solve the problem. And I was like, that thought horrified me. I was like, you know what? I love the peanut butter smears. I love the jam. I love the ketchup. I love all these things on the walls. And these smears mean I have children. And you know what? We can clean. We can clean. And so there's a secret tip I want to talk to you about, which is baking soda and water is amazing for cutting grime and getting rid of just smears that you would never think you could get rid of. You can get a shelf back to white that has been coated in peanut butter and honey. I mean, it's amazing. And then the one other tip also is do what you can with prevention. You can have some rules like, we eat in the kitchen. We don't eat in the living room. I have a friend, she's like, we don't eat in the car. And so their car looks amazing. But I just love eating in the car and we eat in the living room sometimes too. So I'm not the best at prevention, but we can scrub walls and just remember prevent where you can because it really does make a difference. So the topic today is, are you doing too much? This topic, I don't want you to have a lot of guilt. We're talking about all the mom topics. And so there can be lots of guilt attached. And if you're a mom that wants a family, then 2 of the absolute hardest things to decide is when you are done having children and if you should work. And those are just unique questions for each individual woman. And there's a lot of emotion and there can be a lot of guilt attached to these things. So I'm not trying to inflict guilt. I'm just trying to start a conversation that you can think about some of these things and decide what to do in your unique situation with your unique family. So just because you can do everything doesn't mean that you should do everything. Can you do all the laundry? Yes, you can. Can you clean every kitchen? Can you make every meal? Can you plan every soccer game? Can you mow the lawn? Can you clean the cars? Yeah, you could do it all. But you might be in a body bag and your self-care and your passions might go out the door. So we need to spread the love around, spread the responsibilities around. And there's a phrase that I'm going to repeat twice, maybe three times during this podcast episode. You need to memorize this. The queen bee only does what only the queen bee can do. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The queen bee only does what only the queen bee can do. So if there is someone else that can do that job and you don't enjoy it, then think about delegating it. Some things you cannot delegate. You cannot delegate your health to someone else. You can't delegate your self care to someone else. So that means only you can really make sure you get your sleep, your nutrition, your exercise, and your passions. Even if you have the sweetest husband on the planet, he can't sleep for you. He can't eat your food for you. He can't exercise for your body. And he can't figure out what makes you happy. You have to figure out what makes you happy and then give yourself permission to do some of those fun things that make you excited about life. So during the baby years and the child training years, my energy each day had to kind of change. So I made this little poster. I'm going to show it to you. Okay. So this is kind of what my energy level was like in the younger years. So my children, this is just an intuitive number. Everyone's going to have their own intuitive numbers. Children took 61% of my mental, emotional energy. And a lot of that energy was teaching them how to work, which was a very hard thing to do, but I did do it. I had 6 kids and everybody had to do at least 2 jobs a day, plus tidy up their room, plus they had to do their homework on their own time. They also had to clean up after meals. It took a lot of checking their jobs to make sure that they did their jobs, but now they're really capable kids. Even though God and self-care and husband were higher on my priority list, they didn't get as much time as the children because the children needed me more. And God was number one to me, but I prayed, read my scriptures, and then that was the time that God got. And then I was off to do other things. Self-care, I would do those. Exercise, writing was my passion, and so I would do that. And then husband, even though your husband's higher on the list usually than your kids, they're more capable. My mom, she always said, "This is what you do. Whatever your husband asks you to do that day, put that at the top of your list." So if he asks you to iron his work shirt, she's like, "Put that first on your list." So you do that, and then you do the other things, but that way that your husband knows he comes first right after God and stuff. And then others was 9%. So my neighbors, my extended family in the younger years, they didn't get as much of me. And then in my older years, now my children get about 40% of me. Service gets 20%, God gets 10 still, and then self-care gets 15% and business gets 15%. And really my business and my self-care is all the same thing because I write and paint and it's all really like 30% of my life is spent doing all those my passions. So I just hope you'll think about, okay, I only have 100% of my energy every day. And so how am I going to allocate it? So think about that. I want to kind of read to you out of my Organize Your Joy workbook. This is called Family Stewardships and Expectations. So we all hope that our spouse and family will read our minds and that they will effortlessly do the things that we want them to do. However, that desire is not fair or realistic. Our family members cannot read our minds and discover our expectations. Some thought needs to go into dividing up the household duties for a well run family. My friend Stephanie Hawk is an artist, wife, and mother that posts the following on Instagram. Years ago, I was sitting at a bridal shower holding a note card, trying to think of my best marriage advice for the happy couple. People were making quippy remarks like, make sure he does the dishes from day one. I used to think marriage was that, a nice clean chart of his jobs and my jobs. I'll fold the laundry and empty the dishwasher if you mow the lawn and wash the cars. But the longer I've been married, the more I've seen it as a circle. I bring all of me, and he brings all of him, and together we fill up our life until it's full, whole. When I was pregnant, my part of the circle made a small sliver waning moon because I physically couldn't do much. But he came in and filled that space in our circle, waxing and completing so that we together were still whole. When he's had seasons of master's programs and busyness, I swell up and fill the space. We bring a balance and unity to each other that allow us as a couple to be one. I give, he gives, we both do whatever needs to be done, and we together as a team are complete. Didn't she say that well? She is a beautiful artist. StephanieHawk.com is her website, and you can check out her awesome art. I think one year she did 200 paintings in one year. I'm like, how does she do it? Because she's a mom too and a wife. So, anyway, but I'm really tickled about her example. So, as you may tell, there are times and seasons when we help one another and we overlap. Think about your roles and duties and discuss with your spouse the roles for each family member and the expectations for each other. Then discuss everything with your children. Many marriage studies that have been done talk about how finances are the biggest problem in marriage, but a lot of times they haven't put the messy house issue in the questionnaire. And actually, if you put who's supposed to clean the house in the questionnaire, it goes way higher up in causing conflict because, especially if they're both working, it's like, why should the wife have to do all the cleaning if they're both working? And why can't the husband help if she's watching the kids? And anyway, you can just see how there's issues with this topic. Remember that your children can help you with your responsibilities. Since the post industrial age, we had the farm time and now we have all these machines that work. Kids are being underutilized and they're kind of growing up entitled. And we need to help kids help us and take the time to teach them, even though it does take a little bit of time. It's totally worth it. Children can cook, clean, shop, bake, and rake. Remember, the goal as a mother is to work yourself out of a job, not to be a perpetual short order cook and maid. Utilize your team. And there's this really awesome exercise in the book on page 127, and it's right here. And this has a list of responsibilities that need to happen in a home. And you write down who should do it. It could be the wife, the husband, or both, children, or others. All these duties are laundry, cleaning, menu planning, groceries, cooking, outdoor tasks, home repairs, vehicle manager, wage earner, bill payer, miscellaneous shopping, childcare, doctor visits, school contact, spirituality slash values, child driver, child chore training, family fun planner, daily love ritual initiator, date planner. So there's 20 jobs in the house, and the mom does not have to do all these. She doesn't. The kids can help, the husband can help, extended family could help. I just hope that you'll think about, what are you good at? What do you enjoy? What can you delegate? Just because you can do it doesn't mean you have to do it. I want to tell you a little story about my grandma Oldham. This is the spotlight moment. She was a teacher and a dietitian, and she had her college degree and taught lots of little children how to read before she got married. She got married kind of later, and then she had 7 sons and 1 daughter. And she was mostly a stay at home mom, but there were a few times where there was a crisis. My grandpa became allergic to working at the dairy as a chemist. And so he couldn't work there, and we had to figure out new employment. So I think she went to work then. And then another time he had a heart attack, and I think she went to work then as well. But most of the time she was a stay at home mom. And then her 7 sons and my dad started a family business, the Utah County Journal newspaper. and the company needed a receptionist. And grandma just loved being with her boys, and she loved to see the man's world that just accomplishes all these things, making newspapers and phone books and all these things. And she was excited because she was like, I could be a receptionist for the boys. That'd be so much fun. And she prayed about it, and she felt like her daughter and her daughter in laws needed her more. And so she wasn't a receptionist. She created some wonderful memories and relationships with her 61 grandchildren. And she hired us to work for her. She had a big garden and a big yard. And we just helped her manage her property, and we created some fantastic memories. One thing I like to talk about is the kitchen sink curriculum. Because when you were with grandma, she really liked carrots. And a lot of times she would say, oh, should we peel carrots and take them to the party? And we're like, sure. And so we peeled carrots with grandma. And while we peeled carrots, I was just as helpful as she was, whether I was a little kid or whether I was 18. So it removed generation gaps, and we were able to work together. And then while we were working, she would tell stories and just inspire us, and just like, thank you so much for peeling these carrots. I couldn't have done it without you. Anyway, she was just an inspiration. I love her so much. I think she did a really good job of doing what only the queen bee can do. Only she could really be grandma to those over 60 kids, and she did a fantastic job. One thing that my mom always said is children aren't bad. They just want to do what they want to do more than they want to do what you want them to do. And so we need to teach them that they are part of a team, and that we need everybody on the team. If the goalie doesn't do the goalie job, then the other team wins. But if the forwards and the defenders and the goalie, if everybody does their job, the team can win. And so the children are on the team. The mom is not the kicker and the goalie and everything on the team. She's not. Another analogy is it's like a machine. In a washing machine, you have to have the water, you have to have the soap, you have to have the agitator. If you have no agitator, but you have water, the clothes won't wash. So you need each person in the machine doing their little part. If they're the soap, they do the soap job, because we really need to preserve the mother. We need to preserve her, but the mother has to know what will preserve me. And kids can't figure that out, but the mom has to really think about it. What do I need? And make that self-care a priority. In my family, everybody does 2 jobs every day. In my opinion, there's going to be a battle no matter what. You can have a battle over clean your room and do your homework, or do your jobs. And pretty much what I chose is do your jobs. I mean, I help the kindergartner learn how to read, and then pretty much I say, "You're on your own with school. Work hard, but do these jobs at home." So I really teach them how to work through their jobs, and most of them have taken that ability to work and do chores at home, and they get all their homework done without me, because that's the battle I chose to fight, was the chores, and they just took care of their homework. So let's try it, see if it works. So there's a scripture that goes with last month's episode, enjoying the seasons of motherhood, and this month's episode, and it's Ecclesiastes 3. So I want to read it to you. And it goes with last month's episode because it's like there are seasons of motherhood. There's the spring season, the summer, the fall, the winter, these different seasons where you have your motherhood hat on, and it's a little bit of a different hat. And children want to have fun all the time. They just perpetually want to have fun. They think if they're not having fun, they've been robbed. But that isn't what life is about. Life is about having the full experience, a range of emotions, and nobody gets out of this life with just happiness. We have to experience sadness to feel happiness. We have to feel anger to feel forgiveness. Like, we're going to feel all the emotions. So I'm just going to read this scripture because it's a good one. Ecclesiastes 3 1 through 8. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. So I really love that. And I like thinking about that. If every day were Halloween and they got a bag full of candy, Halloween wouldn't be special. But because Halloween is only one day a year, it's really special. Kids want it to be Halloween every day of the year, but it's not, and they're not being robbed. It's just life. And they get to have the full color of emotions and experiences to create a good life. Then, when those special things happen, it makes it even more fun. So, I'm going to give you an example from my life on how I don't do too much. And it's like when I think about the queen bee only does what only the queen bee can do. So, what can I only do? I can only sleep for myself. No one can sleep for me. So, I take a 2-hour nap almost every single day. I know. Can you believe that? And I still sleep at night. And I go to bed at 10:30 and I wake up at 5 or 6 and I feel amazing. But during the baby years, I couldn't do that. I had babies, and so they were up all night. 2 of my babies slept through the night really well, but anyway, but the point is, like, every day around 2 o'clock, I kind of hit my Waterloo. I kind of just feel like giving up and like, "Oh, life's too hard." But then I take a nap, even if it's a 20-minute power nap of just laying down or laying down on the floor with my feet up on a couch and just letting all the blood drain from your feet back to your head, and it just energizes you. That has been an awesome thing. And that's something only I can do because when I get that rest, it resets me. So I've worked for 8 hours. I can nap for 20 minutes to 2 hours, and I can work for another 8 hours. Can you believe that? It's amazing. So just think about what is it that only you can do. So now I'm going to talk to you about the painting that I did. It's called The Queen Bee, and it's a picture of a mother that has wings, and her three little children also have wings, and she's wearing a crown. She's working with her little cherubs, and she's holding a bowl of flowers that are falling, and her kids are helping put all little flowers into the jars. The mom's overseeing the work. Without her, the winged children would scatter to the wind. But with her there, they will be safe and they will learn how to put flowers into jars, which symbolically represents those things that only a mom can teach their child. Isn't that neat? I want to just tell you about some empowering tools that you can learn about. There's this awesome podcast called the Connected Parenting Podcast, and it's fantastic. This lady really teaches you how to connect with your children, but help them grow. Another tip is hire help. If there's something that you really don't want to do, like I think I've already said this a million times, but I hired help. I paid this girl $10 for coming for 2 hours. So on Tuesday afternoon, she would help me deep clean the whole house. And that gave me no guilt. And I had the strength and the patience and energy to work with my little kids each day, learning how to do simple jobs. So later they could do older kid jobs. Anyway, write a list of chores, delegate it on your dry erase board. When my kids come home from school, I wish that we had these deep heart to hearts, but I have 5 boys and 1 daughter. And so my 5 boys just come home from school and they say, "What's my job?" And so I tell them what their 2 jobs are, and we try to connect at some point, but it's just really cute how they know what they're expected to do and they do it. There is this incredible article in the BYU magazine, the spring issue of 2000, and it's called A Family Work by Kathleen Slaw Barr. and Sherry A. Lovelace. This article transformed my life, my mom's life. It is amazing. I should just read the whole article on this podcast because it's so good. And it talks about how connecting jobs are, how much they create love and purpose and self esteem, and how God's been doing this from the beginning. They teach how work is a blessing. It's an amazing article. You should read it. It's changed my life. And it's available at magazine.byu.edu, spring 2000, and A Family Work is the title of the article. Remember that phrase, the queen bee only does what only the queen bee can do. Anybody can earn money, but not everybody can teach your children how to work and have values to build a stable life. And that's my job. Talk to your mentors, those people that you love, respect, and ask them, how do you not do too much? How do you not wear out or burn out? Everyone is going to have a very unique system that they create. And it's more of a mindset that you need to be okay with you taking care of yourself and know that good men want women to take care of themselves because happy wife, happy life, right? I'm going to read you my book that I wrote, Sammy. This is a great book you can buy on Amazon, and it has an age appropriate chore list in the back of the book because sometimes moms have a hard time figuring out, well, what jobs can I ask kids? I don't want to give them psychological damage by, but really, like in the back of this book, it says 3 years old, brush teeth, dress self, fold rags, make bed, pick up toys, set table, use toilet. And this only goes to 10 years old, but I have a longer age appropriate chore list in the Organize Your Joy workbook, the Mom's Complete Organizing Guide. And it's on page 114. And it has lots of tips on how to teach kids how to work. But this one has an age appropriate chore list from 2 years to 18 years. So 16 years, get driver's license, go on a date, understand credit cards, resume preparation, interviewing, arrange for car insurance, household repairs, assist in purchase of car, file tax return, deal with auto mechanic, landscape planning, take ACT, get a job. But the younger ones are like 5 years old, vacuum, make sandwiches, clear table, can food, warm up, clean glass and mirrors. So there's some age appropriate chores ideas. Maybe you could find some online as well. But I'm going to now read to you Sammy by Krystal Meldrum. For Ashley, my angel, my first little bee. In the deepest cavern of our hive, I was born with a brand new batch of bees. The Duchess said, "Today is the day the Queen will meet you. She will give you a name and a job." I was so excited. I wondered, what would I do? The queen glided into the nursery. She named me Sammy, and it felt just right. She also named Sunny, Benny, and Danny. She said, "You three look strong. You can gather pollen." "Yippee!" they cried. I mustered up my courage and cleared my throat. "Excuse me, I need a job, please." "Don't worry, Sammy. You're too little. You can help when you're bigger," she said. I was heartbroken. "Let's celebrate the new arrivals," announced the queen. "Open the yummy honey," declared the duke. The guard said, "Phew, a party sounds great. We're tired of guarding the hive. Let's have a honey hive jive." I hated being so small. Couldn't I do anything to help? I flew into a tiny tunnel and hid. Roar! Suddenly, I heard a terrible noise and looked out a hole in the hive. "Oh no!" I gasped. "A bear! I must tell the queen!" I rushed to the queen. "Follow me!" I yelled. "Hurry!" We dashed outside. The queen cried, "Eek! It's a bear! Stop it, you big brute!" She pestered him until he swatted her, spinning her into a heap. She quickly recovered and flew back into the hive. The queen yelled, "Everyone listen! A bear is attacking the hive!" The room exploded in chaos. "Stop buzzing out," she commanded. "Honeybees, save the babies! Guards, follow me!" The guards attacked. With a swat and a sting and a flick of a wing, the bears scurried off. The guards chased the bear over the river and through the woods. The queen flew over to me. "Thank you, Sammy," she said. "We would have perished without you." "Hear ye, hear ye! A royal decree from the queen!" "Sammy, you were in the right place at the right time, and you did the right thing. I knight you the Royal Lookout Scout. You saved us all." Dear parents, I'm happy you got to hear my story. I want to tell you a secret. Humans are a lot like bees. They both need jobs. Kids want responsibility and accomplishment. They want to be big. Chores give children purpose, life skills, and self esteem. Everything in life that's worthwhile comes with concentrated effort and consistency. In time, life is easier because kids are capable. Training children is worth it. There are 4 important steps in chore training. First, show the child how to do the job while you explain it. Second, do the job with them one on one. Third, let them do the job alone. Fourth, check their work, praise the parts they did well, and tell them where they can improve. Remember, you don't have to train your kids all by yourself. Moms, dads, grandparents, neighbors, friends, and siblings can help. Together, you can do it. Your friend, Sammy. And here's the age appropriate chore list. Sammy's chore ideas: clean the bathroom when you're 7 years old, floss teeth, garden, pull weeds, savings account, and wash dishes. Is that great? Oh, awesome. Okay, so the call to action this month is to write a list of all your jobs and see what you can delegate. Can you delegate the laundry? Can you delegate dinners? What can you delegate? And how can it open up time for you so that you can get the self care that you need? I had a great time visiting with you, and I want to thank you for joining me on the Organize Your Joy podcast. You are the heart of your home. You are not alone, and you are making a difference. I hope you are inspired to do something that brings you joy today. Let's organize our joy.